What's up? How's everybody doing this evening? My name is Johnny Johnny, and this is Johnny Johnny Live. We got a good show for y'all this evening. We got something good to talk about. Well, they're all good, and, but I just think this one is a little bit more special. So I need everybody to tap in, and we're gonna get ready and do this thing. If y'all can hear me, let me know. If not, let me know that too. Don't have me sitting on here and doing a whole and I have no sound. Please help me out. Okay, so we see. It look good, y'all. Y'all, you know what? I'm gonna say this. Y'all don't understand how hard it is to bring this to y'all every day. It may look simple, but if it was simple, like everybody would be doing it. And I have to do it for the most part. I have to do it solo, which means that I have to be the engineer. I have to come up with the content. I have to write. I have to do everything on my own. So, but this show tonight, like I know, like few people like they tap in like afterwards, and that's cool. I mean, whenever you can find time to listen, but this is something that like really that we should listen to. I don't care who you are, what walk of life you came from. This is a very interesting topic. If you got kids, you might want to have them tap in. And I'm gonna try not to cuss. I don't cuss a lot anyway on the air, but I'm gonna try to not cuss. But you want your kids to listen to this, and you can watch it first and then have them go back and watch it. But it kind of goes back to like what we're experiencing today with the whole. Let me hold on. Let me get Instagram started. I almost forgot. It almost goes back to today where we. Okay, hit that go live. Where we're dealing with what was could possibly be a murder for hire, and the type of things that we've seen that you know happened in that whole thing. And I talked to y'all about Chicago drill music and how Chicago drill music was a movement of not just great music, it was a movement of violence, like a lot of violence. And that's what we have to look at. And like I know like now with some of these rappers because they have money and they made themselves like appear in the community or whatever. And we look at them and be like, there's no way that they could have did that. But you have to understand they past like when they was younger is coming back to hunt them, and that's kind of sad. But I want to do this because this is something that I always talk about. But I want to talk about this because of what the industry. That's what we're talking about the industry and what it could have possibly shaped black people and us going to prison. Because there's when you hear about some of these things and these videos that I'm gonna show, you'll see that it's a direct link from like rap music to prisons. It's a direct funnel to rap music in prisons and things like that. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna watch some of it, and then of course you have the P Diddy thing happening, and it's like right now rap music is being rocked, like it's really being shaken up. I have my theory. I honestly think that this is time where like other cultures are gonna try to steal like rap music. They obviously they're gonna take it away from black people. Like okay, y'all had it long enough to where we let y'all basically run rap music, but now we're gonna bring other artists in from like China, uh, white rappers, AI. You know, it's gonna be way more white rappers, and it's gonna be like white female rappers. You see that one rapper uh, on TikTok where she was rapping, and like it just went triple, quadruple. That wakes record labels up, so they're like, "Oh, we need white female rappers." Cause like you see, with like black female rappers are like for women. Like I like Sexy Red stuff like that, but you kind of see how it's molding and shaping females, like black females. Like I said, I like it, but wow, they be getting wild in the club, and they shake everything, they show everything. It's like wow, these females, like Sexy Red has got these females turned the fuck up. But that, like, you can see how music shapes a culture. If it wasn't for Sexy Red, then you might be like still kind of cool in the club. Like you had like other rappers and stuff like that, like Cardi B and all that. Like okay, shake a little ass or whatever like that. But that these are nothing like the rappers you have today, where you have like Sexy Red. I can't think of the other one, but I've been playing her lately, and her mouth is nasty. Like if you think Sexy Red mouth is nasty, you should hear some of these other female rappers. I believe she said, and this is a quotation, and this is not coming out of my mouth. But this lady, she was rapping. I forgot Suki, and she said that I'm gonna start playing some of these music videos so y'all can see what she said. She said that she gonna fuck your boyfriend at your crib and wipe her pussy with the kid's baby uh, bib and rhyme that shit. It ain't funny, but it is funny. Like, wow. Like, that's some foul shit. Like, these female rappers, they mouth is like, it's, and they get paid to do that. They get paid. So, other females see that. And I've always said, it's like, with females, is strength in numbers. And you can leave a message too, or a comment. If I'm not talking, if what I'm saying don't make sense, and you disagree, just let me know. You can do emoji or any of that stuff. But what I'm saying is females um, have strength in numbers. I've always said that females have strength in numbers, and what that means is that if they see another female or other groups of other females doing stuff, then more than likely they gonna feel more empowered to do that. it's it's great because it keeps them strong within each other, like for real. So when Sexy Red first came out, they was like, "Ugh, you see, she nasty." Like you could hear like a lot of females chatting, even like older females, like, "Ugh, she nasty, she nasty." But as time went on, and she started dropping more music, now they all singing her songs. They run into her concerts, half naked, throwing everything. Everybody's just throwing everything. Can you imagine like a sold out concert with these females half naked, everybody just throw like it's pussy everywhere. Like that's crazy, ain't it? Like it's just, and I'm being honest, like for real, it's pussy everywhere. Out. I don't know. This world is, but you see that my point is music is what brought that out like that. You know what I'm saying? It might have always been there. They might have always wanted to do that and be this way, but music brought them out like that. And then, like I said, they see these female rappers turn the fuck up, have 5 or 6 boyfriends, doing all this and all that. Then that's how a lot of people gonna act. And this is one more example, and I know I'm talking a whole lot, but a guy said, if you see a bunch of lions like coming at you, and one lion is different, like how do you know that lion ain't gonna eat you? Because that lion running with the other lions, they act like the other lions. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sort of sense. So a female, how do you know that she's not a hoe? That particular female, how do you know that particular female is not a hoe? Because she act like a hoe. She run with the hoes. She listens to the same music the hoes listen to. she be in the same club the hoes be, you know what I'm saying? So how can you differentiate? We're gonna get into all that a little bit later. I think I got a little bit off track, but I'm gonna make my point. Music brings you to a place to where it may be guiding your mind and things like that. So I want y'all to watch this video. And guess what, y'all? It's Krayzie Bone on this video. So y'all know there's some truth in it. It's not no false video. And I meant to put his name up there, but I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tag his name in there. But this video is deep, y'all. I want y'all to check it out. I might have to grab my charger as it plays, but just take a listen, y'all. Tell me what y'all think.
The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not playing.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answer.
Now I want y'all to listen to exactly what he's talking about. Just take a listen to exactly what we're talking about. Like, this is coming out of his mouth. He's a star. He's been a hip hop star for years, and this is the story that he has to tell about the industry. He was like one of the pioneers of gangster rap when it got real dark. They was talking about Ouija boards and killing people. This was a meeting he was at. Take a listen.
For us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, G.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on 1 second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No, sweat.
For real though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding.
Hold on. Let me stop this real quick. I apologize, y'all. This is a email that got leaked out. He's talking about somebody else, and they found this email. So I'm going to finish playing it.
With our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares.
Wow.
Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions.
So it was really a business transaction. A business transaction basically saying that the more people they get in prisons, the more money they make.
He told us that since our employees had become solid investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. And it's bigger than the music business and nothing we'd want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. With a few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years he just felt guilty, because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
Over 2 decades.
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messes in their
No
music.
positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted and
Went where Poor Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking.
Yeah.
Even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know what I'm saying?
everybody.
It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's
You know
why
what I'm
if you
saying?
even notice though, now
And we talk about that all the time.
even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely,
Quickly.
definitely. Now, after reading all this, you know, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked, because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The second emotion I felt was anger. Anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been favorable towards the artists. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artists to get the artist to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities.
Yep.
In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them, and it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
Yeah.
So they making the killing.
A killing.
They're using the music business to promote their private prison business.
My man is right there talking that right. 1988, a man named Tom Beasley, man. That's the co-founder of the corrections for Corporation of America. That's the CCA. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. I'm reading this thing right there real quick. It's the CCA. So in 1988, he founded that, and this is in straight concert with the same thing. So it's like the music business. You do what you do on your side. And over here with the corrections facilities, we're going to do on this side and now in 1970, there was 500 prisons. You know what I'm saying? Only 500 prisons in the United States. To this day, there's 1,700 prisons right now. That means big business. I'm talking about that done flippled over. You know what I'm saying? If flippled over is a word. Because they're making a lot of money off of these things per inmate. You know what I'm saying? So getting with this.
That's big business. That's crazy. All that money that's just floating through like the music industry, and then like after the music industry, they promoting the consumers to do these things. That's what I say. Like today, it seems like it goes on till today. That's what we're looking at. Like they allow these artists to do all of this stuff. Like if you look with the FBI and stuff like that, they knew they could have intervened with a little dirt and then try to hit him on something else or a lesser charge or something, or attempted murder or something like that, something he can beat. But they allowed him to do the crime to promote it to his consumers, and then went back and got him. They let him do all of that stuff, and then went back and get him. Now this is like Ice Cube, and we're gonna listen to what Ice Cube has to say about it because it's almost similar to what Crazy Bonus said about him. He was a pioneer of rap, and they say
They
these
names,
things that
Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, okay, this is an industry. Okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take
Okay.
it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So
Literally the same people?
literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. So
Same people. That's crazy.
you know, it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. You know, some records are made by committee. Meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. We're gonna have that. So the narrative is really kind of, you know, structured and really made into what the record company want the record to be, and what the, you know, a lot of artists are frustrated with this kind of music making. You know, a lot of people, you know, feel like they're being controlled by the label. This is how they do it. Telling you what songs to sing, what hooks to do, what songs, you know, you can do your song, that's fine. That's an album cut. But the single is what we all say is the single. So you have, you know, the record company pushing the narrative, you know, and you know, so this to me is in somewhat you know, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full. Now, there's a lot of dots to connect to make that happen, but I'm just giving you a broad example of how people at the top can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting. I just gave you a music example, but there's examples of race.
Can I cross-examine this theory?
Of course you can cross-examine, of course. Of course.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your theory is that the prison industrial complex, and I agree, that's an abomination. We'll start off with there. Prison I've done editorials on this on my show. Prison is one of those things that should not be in private hands.
Yes.
Along with healthcare, a few other things that are like, you know, the good part of socialism. They should not be run by people for profit. I agree with that.
Yes.
I did not know about this connection to the music industry, that it's the exact same people. If by that you mean that the people who run the record companies may have stock in prisons, private prisons, that's possible because they all have stock. I mean, do they actually like Monday, Tuesday go to work as a record company executive and Wednesday through Friday go to work at the prisons? No.
Okay,
so
of course they're not actually running the labels.
They have
things.
financial interest in it.
They have financial interest.
Okay, so if they have financial interest in the prisons, and your theory, if I'm following correctly, is that the kind of stuff in rap lyrics works as a funnel to get people inspired to do the kind of things that would get them in prison.
Yeah, I mean, writing the lyric, fuck the police.
Might get somebody arrested and sent to prison.
That might get somebody arrested and sent to prison. That's just one example, one record that the record company did not manipulate. You know, that's pure artistry.
Right.
But I've seen labels. I've
did they
worked with artists.
Did they manipulate you?
No. I'm an independent artist. Always have been. I started off on independent labels.
So how were you able to avoid this trap that so many others fell in? What did you do right?
I wouldn't let an A&R asshole in my studio. Like, you're not fucking coming in here telling me how to make a record.
Right.
I'm gonna come from the heart. I'm gonna do what I feel. So I never allowed an A&R to. I never had anybody A&R me, but Dr. Dre. You know. So
That's pretty.
I just wasn't ever going for it, and they just kind of like let me alone do my thing. And I was on the independent label like Priority. I wasn't on a major. And majors, they do it with singers. They do it with rappers. They have a lot to say in what's the finished product.
Isn't it always the case anywhere in show business? But okay, let's just talk music, where the people who are the most talented and are